The internet has been set aflame recently, figuratively and not literally.
Oh.
That's right. That's why we're all still here watching YouTube videos.
And not trying desperately to bat out a fire that's coming out of all our phones and tablets and computers. I understand, sure.
Exactly. The reason that being that Zack Snyder was recently in a Q&A where he talked about his original plans for Justice League.
Which he may or may not be making up as he goes along.
That's entirely possible. So, yeah, look, I thought that a lot of these ideas were really interesting and maybe it's the kinds of things that would have been a better follow-up to Batman v Superman in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So why don't we go through some of these about what he said and what direction he would have liked to take it in.
Hypothetically, if this is even true.
That's right.
Given that he has 20/20 hindsight and nobody's making him make any more, or letting him make any more, so he could say whatever he wants.
Well, that's certainly true. So apparently the original Justice League that him and Chris Terrio wrote, they didn't actually end up shooting any of it at all because they had these ideas. They went to Warner Brothers and Warner Brothers were like, that's pretty scary. That's crazy. And we don't want to do that. And I'd imagine a lot of that would have been the backlash to Batman v Superman.
Yeah, where I read, and that this may be on your list, but he did spitball apparently. You know, obviously the finale of Batman v Superman is that both Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent realise they have the mother has the same name. I do believe he did spitball at one point that perhaps Martha Wayne didn't die, but in fact went into witness protection in Kansas. That was shot down very quickly.
Why?
So they could be brothers.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
That's the thing about a lot of these ideas.
They're dumb.
No, I'm not inherently against them
Okay.
because this is clearly a different universe in a lot of ways and a different interpretation of the character.
Yes.
Plural. Because like the Dark Knight isn't exactly Batman. Burton's version isn't exactly Batman.
That's true.
And the Affleck version is also a murderer.
The only true version of Batman is the Adam West Batman.
That's right.
Surfing safari.
Yes. When Batman v Superman had come out, they'd already finished the script of Justice League. And some people didn't like that movie. He says a vocal minority.
A vocal minority.
So I'd say it's probably 50-50 would probably be a more conservative number. And there's a lot of stuff that apparently Warner Brothers didn't want them to do, so they had to rewrite it. So the sequel, though, originally was going to build off the nightmare sequence from Batman v Superman, which is one of my favourite sequences from that movie. It's a good sequence. Yeah. And also does throw up a lot of ideas of things that could come in the future.
Yes.
That was subsequently mostly ignored in the sequel that we got. And the idea was that he was going to eventually end up explaining those things. So apparently it would have ended up in the distant future, Darkseid had taken over Earth. And there's a few members of the Justice League that have survived and were still kind of scrapping against the parademons and Darkseid and the forces of Darkseid.
So it's the distant future.
Maybe 10 years or so.
Okay. Well, that's as far away as I can imagine, so
exactly, yeah. And of course, one of the biggest threats against them was Superman, who'd fall into the anti-life equation, which we did see in Batman v Superman. And the thing is, we've seen evil versions of Superman. A lot of this screams like the Injustice universe, of where one bad day or one bad event happens to Superman and he just goes off kilter. He just can't handle it.
Just goes off chops.
Yeah, which in the same way that in the Injustice version, Lois is killed.
Yes.
And in this version, it's the same. So Darkseid comes back in time, kills Lois.
Yeah.
Not comes back, just comes through a boom tube. Whatever he does, he kills Lois. And
he gets off the bus and he's like, you're going to cop it, Lois Lane.
So in the future, though, you've got Batman, the Flash, and a broken cyborg attempting to send the Flash back in time to warn Bruce about what's to come and explain to Bruce Wayne as quickly as he can about what's going on. And that's why he screams at him in the cave, Lois is the key. And Bruce Wayne's like, what? What?
You couldn't have practiced it before you went back through time?
And apparently one of the ideas which I really like for time travel was there's only a certain points where you can actually make this happen because the Earth is constantly rotating around the sun, allegedly. That's what the eggheads at NASA want us to think.
Yeah, right,
That if you send someone back in time, like say 6 months ago, they're going to end up in the middle of space.
Yeah, right,
Because you're at that exact point in time. You're not going to be on the Earth. The Earth would have moved, allegedly.
Allegedly.
And then you're stuck. You're out there,
right,
mate.
Yeah. You end up on the turtle's back.
That's right.
Giant turtle, you know?
So the Justice League teaser that wasn't in the movie was, he figures out that these things are connected, and if you can keep Lois Lane alive, then this turn of events won't happen, which I guess is what the Justice League actually got. It kind of does wrap up that storyline because in keeping Lois alive and bringing her to the bit where Superman's beating up the Justice League.
He stops beating up the Justice League. So, yeah. I mean, maybe that was accidental.
Yes.
So...
yeah, but what I also don't understand is if Darkseid rolls up on his bus to kill Lois Lane...
Yep.
I don't understand why Superman would then end up working for this guy. I mean, I know the anti-life equation is supposed to twist a person's mind and whatever, and it makes
yeah.
you the worst version of yourself or whatever it does in whatever versions. But does that seem like a bit of a kind of... Is that how that would go?
No, if anything, you'd set up like a rival business to Darkseid's and attempt to crush him financially.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Like a social network?
Like a social network, exactly. That's right. Where you rate Darkseid on attractiveness.
That's right.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. So yeah, it was going to be a series of movies where it was basically undoing the work of Darkseid. It was going to be like a trilogy.
So he takes over the world in maybe the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, huh.
And I'm not really against any of that, to be honest, because what we saw from Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and I don't wholly love either of those movies. I often find myself being the defender of them somehow. And I don't mean
because you're a man of contrast. That's
maybe
why.
I am. But I think there is some good stuff in that. But I think the kind of complete snap heel turn that we got from Batman v Superman and Justice League.
It's a sharp turn.
It's a very sharp turn. And it obviously doesn't work because there's been a lot of course correction as a result of that.
That's true.
That being said, do you think if we got this particular version, that's what would have had a similar result, like a similar box office? Do people want to see 3 of these?
I want to see more of that. I want to see Superman at the very least outmatched briefly. Would be nice.
Yeah, sure.
That would be good. I don't want to have him show up and just swat the bad guy down.
Yeah.
Put him in an environment where... Put him in a fantastical environment. That's what we never get.
The desert.
The desert, exactly. Take him off Earth for a minute, you know?
Yeah.
Give me something exciting.
Sure, I can understand that. The other thing is, this got a lot of people riled up. The killing that Batman does. The specific quote from Zack Snyder is, someone says to me, Ben Affleck's Batman killed a guy, and I'm like, fuck, really? Wake the fuck up. So basically, these are his words. He says that what I'm saying is, once you've lost your virginity to this fucking movie, and then you come and say to me something like, my superhero wouldn't do that, I'm like, are you serious? I'm down the fucking road on that.
Wow. My man wearing a rubber suit and a cape pretending to be a bat is cool and edgy.
Yes.
Don't give me this silly one that won't kill a man. Yeah. And look, I think we've done this to death.
Yes.
But again, it doesn't even make sense within his own movies.
Yeah.
Because if he's willing to kill people, why hasn't he killed the Joker?
Yeah.
Why is he just killing dudes who are thugs for a paycheck?
Yeah.
When he could be killing a guy who is a mass murdering serial killer?
Yeah.
That guy's an eternal problem. Just find him and kill him.
Yes.
But you won't, because you need him to be a convenient plot device.
Yeah, well, that's right, exactly. The specific quote here that also says, my heroes didn't commit any atrocities. That's what someone's saying to him, and he says, that's cool, but you're living in a fucking dream world. The thing is, these aren't real
It's a
worlds.
dream. It is a dream world. That's why we
see.
see these movies.
Yes.
Because it is a dream world where the bad guys get their comeuppance and the good guys are real good.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess for me, I have liked versions of Batman that are killed. A lot of them have. I've got a kill count video about all the versions of the movie versions and how many people they've killed and so on and so forth. They've all murdered somebody except the Clooney version, which hasn't, inexplicably.
Maybe there's a comic book furthering of that story where he kills a bunch of people, though.
Yes.
We can only hope.
And I'm not against bringing that to the big screen at all, but I think maybe they should have just leaned into this more as a kind of Injustice style universe where the heroes do kill.
Yeah, and we know that this is not the comic book version. There's no ambiguity.
Yeah.
We're like, this is... Okay, here's a universe where it took a turn for X reason, a death of a major character or something, and then it all went off the rails.
Yeah.
You know?
Because the thing is, there's room for different versions of these characters.
Yes.
I don't think it has to be strictly, we get Batman's origin, he goes off and he lives with ninjas and then he learns karate and whatever. We don't need to get that same thing every time. If you look at the Elseworld stories of, the DC universe and the what if of Marvel, you can take this any number of directions. But I think my problem with this universe was, and speaking of what you were saying, it doesn't quite add up. Like, narratively, the motivations don't make sense.
Correct,
to me.
yeah.
And that's where a lot of this kind of fell down. The other thing that needs to be taken in mind as well, like, people are kind of railing on Zack Snyder for this. This is his version of the story, and he never quite got to, see it out. We don't really know how this would have played out in general. It's all well and good to say, well, I would have done this, this, and this, but we don't really know how it would have been received, what it really would have looked like.
Sure.
He didn't film any of this. He was also saying that the Snyder Cut doesn't really exist of Justice League.
Right, so the one we're clamoring for, the version that was not Whedonified, it's not real.
It's not really.
Oh, that is it. The trilogy cut. It's done. You have it right. I'd like to...
So yeah, there you bloody go. Look, he's on to other things. He's doing zombie movies again. He's had a lot of personal tragedies, which I think people also need to take into account.
That's
true.
true.
A lot of these comments. You don't need to kind of bail him up on social media and kind of kick him for it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see what he does from this outside of the DC universe, because I don't think his movies are terrible. I think a lot of them are kind of great. Yeah. Dawn of the
We
Dead.
all have opinions, don't we?
You like Dawn of the
I
Dead?
like Dawn of the Dead, yeah.
Yeah.
I even like Watchmen.
I
for the
like
most
Watchmen
part,
too,
so,
but a lot of people think you're an idiot for thinking that.
I'm aware.
Including me, who also likes Watchmen.
A lot of people think I'm an idiot for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. Add it to the pile.
Yes.
Yeah, so there you go. Anyway, I'm curious what people... Do the people want to see this version of the Justice League? They want to see this play out? Do they want to see 3 Justice League movies about set in the future in the desert and time travel and Darkseid and
I absolutely
anti-life
do.
equations? Me too.
Yeah.
But would it have been good? We'll never
know, so maybe that's for the best, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, we do videos here every Sunday, Tuesday and Thursday. Why don't you bloody swing on by to check any and all of them out?
Like Batman
Like
might.
Batman might and has. It's his birthday, isn't it?
It is.
Or
Happy
something.
birthday, Batman.
Well done,
Thank you.
you murderer.
Yeah, stop it.
Also, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. Please swing on by every Monday morning if you want to check that out. I'll be talking news of the week and then a topic. We got one for Shazam.
Shazam!
Really looking forward to that one.
That one!
And Mason's at Wikipedia Brown on Twitter.
On Twitter.
And I'm at Mr. Sunday Movies on Twitter also.
On Twitter also.
And YouTube.
YouTube.
Okay, goodbye everyone.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
And goodbye.
Goodbye.